Dennis Quaid, Dreamscape. 1-1. Okay. Can you tell us, Dennis, about the philosophy of the film, the good against evil concept?
Well, the film is about psychic phenomena.
Running.
Okay, Dennis Quaid interview, Dreamscape, Slate 1, take 2. Okay. I like
Yeah. What's the question now?
that. About the philosophy of the film.
Dreamscape is about a guy who has the psychic abilities, who has the ability to go inside other people's dreams and become an active participant inside those dreams. And so this is set against a laboratory situation. And so the character I play, Alex, goes in reluctantly at first and then willingly as the film goes on, goes into other different people's dreams who have different problems, personality problems or neuroses that they live out in their dreams, and I go in and actually go through their dreams with them and help them out.
Is there a philosophy inherent in the film, a point of view of good versus evil concept?
Well, I don't know if you'd say, yes, there is a good versus evil concept in the movie, yes, but in dreams I don't think anything is really evil, good, or whatever. I mean, they're created in our imaginations, what is evil and what is good. Yes, there are monsters and ogres, and then there's also our sexual hang-ups are also in our dreams, and so we go through the whole gamut.
Did you do any special research for your part?
I went to Duke University. This is where they first really started studying psychic phenomena in their laboratory situation, and went through some tests that they had there, and found out a lot of things about psychics. I mean, that I don't really believe in psychics as everybody who hangs a shingle outside of their door, you know, and calls themselves a psychic and can predict your future. I think we all have psychic abilities, and we are capable of developing those psychic abilities. It's like athletic ability. Some are more gifted than others, and to begin with, but it can be developed. And I think everybody has psychic experiences. How much they're aware of them is another case where they say they're coincidence. Some of them are coincidence, yes, but some of them are actually psychic experiences.
Have you ever experienced any psychic phenomenon yourself?
Yeah, I have, but I don't really need to go in and talk about all this because everybody has a story or whatever that has happened in their lives with that. I mean, I've had several experiences in my life like that.
So there's enough with your research and your own experiences to lead you to believe that it does really exist?
Yeah, that's partly what really attracted me to the story to begin with, I think. And that I also wanted to play a psychic in a sense, and that the way I've usually seen them played in films, they're always like bug-eyed, and you know, they got, woo, you hear the music go like that, and usually it happens under very ordinary circumstances, and very ordinary-looking people.
Did the role have any special physical demands for you?
Not necessarily, no. That is the question.
Yeah, what problems, if any, are there for an actor trying to create a characterization within a framework of almost fantasy or illusion or science fiction?
Well, you just have to start outside and go into the dreams. We shot dream sequences, which are, it wasn't a problem for me in a sense that I still retained my same personality. I just inside somebody else's dream, and we shot a lot with wide-angle lenses and things like this to create a dream-like atmosphere in the way things were set up. And things are very symbolic also in a way that it helps. In fact, in some ways it even helps you. And you're shooting all these symbols inside of a dream, and it's pretty interesting things to get into. Some of it's rather comic as well.
How do you go about, when you first decide to do a script, how do you go about finding what you see the character to be and its nuances?
Well, I don't know how I go about that. I just, whatever really I'm attracted to. I think I'm attracted to the character in the story, that's why.
What characteristics of the character in this one?
Well, as I said about psychics, that I've always been interested in psychic phenomena, and this is a chance to really do something with that.
Okay. Was there anything else in the character other than the psychic phenomena that was a particularly interesting characterization for you?
Particularly interesting characterization?
In developing his characterization.
Well, I think that's what we just talked about. We talked about like going to Duke University and also about psychics and how they're always bug-eyed all the time, you know.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what kind of person the character was.
Oh, the person of the character is really starts out as plays a person who also the thing about psychics is that people who are very sensitive psychically are very sensitive people, and in some ways having abilities like that is not really what you call a blessing. And so they try to get away from their abilities in a sense, or not to take them so seriously. And under these circumstances, like I said, the character is reluctant at first to go into other people's dreams. And part of the reason why is that as he grew up, they recognized him as being a psychic who was highly sensitive, and so they prodded him under laboratory conditions to where he felt like a lab rat and had to leave it. And now he's just using his abilities to go to the racetrack and things like that, pick up a little cash on the side.
Is there any career significance for you that you see in the role?
You never know.
What was it like working with your director in the film?
Joe? I've worked with Joe on a couple of other occasions when I was first starting out in films. And he's a really good guy.
What is it particularly that sparked?
We get along very well. We have a personalities mesh for some reason. He's a Jewish boy from New York, and I'm a Texas boy, Baptist boy, and for some reason we get along really great.
Is he the kind of director who controls the actor totally, or does he let the actor have free rein?
He's the kind that will kill you unless you do what he says.
Terrific.
Want to talk about Kate? Let's talk about Kate.
Okay. What about Kate?
What?
What was she like?
Kate is great. Kate is has got a real charisma to her, and there was a real spark and chemistry between the two of us. It just happened for some reason. We would just look at each other and start laughing sometimes, to the point where we would have to stop rolling, that we couldn't look at each other without cracking up or laughing. But there's a spark in her eye, and she's a very good actress.
You can't think what it might have been that created this chemistry between the two of you. The personality.
You never know with that, you know, how you're going to get along with working with somebody, really. You could say, gosh, I'd love to work with that person, or you can even be friends with somebody and say, gee whiz, it would really be great to work together, wouldn't it? And then you get up there and it doesn't work for some reason. And I don't think you can predict that kind of thing. It just happens, has to happen.
When something like that happens, do you find that it makes your whole acting job easier to have that chemistry between you?
Oh, sure. Sure it does. Then you don't have to work. You don't have to. It's always best when your acting is not showing, you know, and you don't have to act. It's really always best. What's really going on between the two people. I think it's a lot more fun that way. Let's put it that way. I've known cases where films were done where the stars hated each other, and it really looks like, man, there's something going on. But at the same time, that's the opposite end of the scale. There's some kind of passion going on. You either hate them or you love them. I'd hate to be in the middle, you know, when you don't feel either way about somebody. And Kate is, she's got a lot going for her.
Can you tell us about the sequence where the little boy has the nightmare, bearing in mind that Snake Man isn't going to be shown in the clips that this will relate to? What was the sequence in the little boy's nightmare?
Is going to be shown, you said?
It won't be shown in relation to what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, there's this sequence in the movie where a little boy is having a recurrent nightmare. This horrible monster is chasing him in the dream, and so to the point where he hasn't been able to sleep for the last 8 months. I mean, he's just like total basket case. And I go in to help him out, and there's this theory that these Indians have in not Indians, excuse me, but there's this theory in Malaysia that they raise their children to face their dreams. When they dream, to face their dreams, the monsters in their dreams, and come to grips with them, and by doing so, they will also come to grips in their waking life with what's going on around them, rather than running from monsters, to actually stand up and fight them. If somebody's going to cut you with a sword, let them go right ahead and cut you with a sword, and you'll spring out of that and do something else. And that's really what that sequence is really all about, how to break through monsters that we have in our imaginations, that are really only in our imaginations.
What do we got on film?
We have out.
Okay.
Just
We
go
need
on.
about 3 or 4 minutes more, if that's okay. We just want
Mm.
Dennis Quaid into Dreamscape, take 1, slate 2. Okay, Dennis, if you could just almost synopsize for us the sequence where the girl is asleep and you enter the dream.
Excuse me. Oh yeah, well, the character, Kate Capshaw, she plays Dr. Jane DeVries in the film. And the character that she plays, we have a romantic type of situation going on, but it's also a lab scientist-patient relationship in a way. And so it cannot really be consummated. And so it accidentally, on purpose, happens in a dream, that I go into her dream, and it takes sexual overtones in it. And she's the love interest in the film. And it takes place on a train for some reason. I don't think it has to do with something with a gentle rocking motion and the plush red velvet of the old train cars, or something like that.
Do you make love to her in the dream?
Well, I'll never tell. Kiss and tell.
What happens when she wakes up? After the dream?
She smokes a cigarette. Actually, we do have a love scene on the train in the film, and it takes place inside a dream sequence. And it's rather a unique way to shoot a love scene, and it's first time I ever made love on a train, in a film or not in a film, and she's really there was something going on between us. I'm not saying off the set or anything like that, but while we were shooting, there was definitely a spark in between the two of us that really worked well. We had a good chemistry together.
When the dream sequences were shot, were they shot in a special way? Were they colored differently? Or?
They were. It was shot. It looked like a dream the way it was shot. It was a very diffused type of light, and it has a very red type of colors to it, and very sexual colors. You know, like in dreams, colors take on their own meaning and their own symbols, and this is done with lots of reds and against also pure whites, things like this, you know. And there's the rocking of the trains, and there's also all kinds of sexual imagery involved.
Is there anything, just to finish it up, that you'd like to say about the movie, or what people should feel after they've seen the film, or what you'd like them to feel or think after they've seen the film?
Well, I don't really think that it's that deep of a picture. You know, I don't think it really is intended to be a scientific investigation of what is psychic phenomena and all that. I think it's a movie to go to and buy some popcorn and sit down and have a good time. You know.
Okay, look back over the halfway back.
Okay.
You want to just go in closer? Dennis, just for 5 seconds, if you could, as if you're reacting and listening to me. Close that down.
Yeah,
Okay. And you're in perfect agreement with all these wondrous things that are being asked here.